So thank you very much, Blake, for your talk on Don't Know Mind. And are there any questions? Yes, Liz.
I think that the big question for me with that don't know mind is, we say, and I've asked this several times, so there's new people, so it's okay, just like Blake said. But a part of me still says no, but there is right and wrong. When I heard, and I'll use a real situation, when I heard that a student that I worked with was sexually abused. I mean, I didn't need that moment to say, oh no, wait a minute, let me see whether, is that right? No, it's not right, it's not wrong. I'm going to throw away my bias. I mean, it's wrong. It was wrong. So, and I understand that then what I'm going to do, that if I was really, which I was really angry, but I needed to not be that when I'm working with that student, because that's the last thing that she needed. She needed support, not somebody being angry that will be interpreted as angry at her. It wasn't her fault.
Mm-hmm.
But I think speaking to the idea that yes, in a sense, there is no right and there's no wrong, but in a sense, we live in a world where sometimes there are some things happen that just are not right.
So in the 5 precept certificate, there's a line in a poem, and it's good and evil have no self-nature. And it's the self-nature that's very important here. So no right, no wrong means there's no right self-nature. There's no wrong self-nature. Terrible things happen. The first noble truth is that existence entails suffering. That's the first noble truth of the 4 noble truths in Buddhism. It's where Buddhism comes from, is the question of suffering. So it's not like, oh, this thing happened, but it's okay to bomb and kill all these people, and it's okay to, sexually attack this young girl that is your student, and it's okay to do this sort of thing, because there's no right and wrong. That's not it. What it's saying is that there's not a thing called evil, which has a self-nature of evil, and there's not a thing called good, which has a self-nature of good. It's that, as Blake was saying, you meet every situation, you meet every situation, you meet every situation as it appears. So this young girl appears and she's in distress, and you meet her there. And you don't have to spend time judging things that are not in that situation. You meet in that situation. And then the perpetrator, there's a situation in which he needs to be met, hopefully in court, and hopefully the correct judgment was made. And that's a different situation. What happens is we confuse situations and things leak over. So the situation that your student is in, that's her situation right there. And how do you meet her where she needs you to meet her without throwing in other things that will prevent you from meeting her where she is? So yeah, it's not saying, oh, it's okay to do whatever you want. Take a machine gun. There's about 22 people in this room. Take a machine gun, kill all those people. Sorry, we can't kill you guys on one. It's not like that. Our job is to alleviate suffering. The Bodhisattva, Kwanseum Bosal, Kuan Yin, Avalokiteshvara, that Bodhisattva has 1,000 hands, and in each hand there's an eye, right in the middle of the hand. And those 1,000 eyes see what is happening in this world. And then those 1,000 hands reach out to help. So that's what it's about. Not getting caught up in our judgment, not getting caught up in our theories, not getting caught up in our narratives, but meeting the moment right then. Okay? So thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes. Oh, we have a microphone for you.
I don't know if you want to.
Other
I
side.
asked this question one time before. We didn't have time to answer it. But
Okay.
what is it to trust in mind?
What is it to trust in mind? So there's a very famous poem called the Shin Shin Ming, which means trust in mind. And it's supposedly from the third ancestor, Sengsan. So this would have been a very long time ago in China, like maybe 7th century or something like that. So what does it mean to trust in mind? So mind is not the thoughts in your brain. Mind is not something, your little mind, my little mind, you know, Blake's little mind, Wenda's little mind, Buddha's little mind. That's not what we're trusting in. So this mind is everywhere, and it takes many forms. So humans have human minds. My phone has phone mind. Cats have cat mind. Fish have fish mind. Sharks have shark mind. Minnows have minnow mind. And then each individual has their own mind. As Blake was saying, he has a certain training, and that affects how he will respond. This world is vast and wide, many creatures in it. And we all are an expression of this mind. And this mind comes through our karma, and it comes through our speech and our body and our little individual mind. It comes through all of those things. So that's what we're trusting in. What we're trusting, so there are 3 essentials of Zen practice. There's trust, there's perseverance, and there's great question. So great question is this question: what is this? What am I? And then trust, it's like, now you're not trusting in something. It's not that you're trusting that everything is going to be fine. Like Blake had this interview, this job interview. Trust in mind doesn't mean that hey, I got the job. You know, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean that if you have some illness, you trust that you'll be cured. Eventually everybody dies, right? So eventually you're not going to be cured. So that's not trust. It's not about your particular situation and condition and stature in the world. What trust is like when you are walking and you trust that the ground will be there to meet you. And sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's nighttime and you didn't see there's a hole in the ground, or you didn't realize there was a curb or a step or whatever, and you fall down, you know. I'm old enough that every time I go to the doctor, have you had any falls recently? And sometimes I have. But yeah, but it's that kind of trust. So that's what trust in mind is. Yeah, thank you for your question. Okay, two questions. You first?
Oh, okay.
Well, you need the microphone.
Oh, thank you. Well then, is intuition fabricated from our ego, or is intuition the clarity of self?
So intuition. So Intuition is somebody's idea. So we have models of how things work, like time and space. Those are actually ideas. Try to pin down what time is, you can't. You know, space, we have an idea of what it is, but time, you absolutely cannot pin down. Okay, so we have this idea of intuition, reasoning. So that's just a way of sort of trying to organize the way we think about how we think. And it actually is completely made up. So you don't have to worry about intuition. Okay, it's just a word, it's just a concept, and in some cases it's useful. But it's not how things actually are. Okay? So thank you. And you had a question?
Well, you're probably going to have this similar answer that you just gave Katie, but when you were describing mind, it sounded like you're describing consciousness. Yes or no?
You know, there's this wonderful line, commentary that Zen Master Sung-san has to one of the Kangans, and it's I'm trying to get it right.
Students of the way.
No. It's philosophers say that Buddhism says that mind made everything. Philosophers say that consciousness made everything. Something like that. And then, you know, the question is, mind and consciousness, are they the same or different? So, you know, when you try to pin them down, they're really slippery. They're just useful things that human beings make up in order to help us in the world. Just like language, all of language is like this. It's just useful thing that we make up, and it helps us.
Sometimes.
You know, sometimes, yeah, sometimes it doesn't help us, right? Yeah. But yeah, so we don't have to get attached to that. Now, if you're a philosopher, then that your profession is to really look very carefully at that. And I don't want to put it down, because when you're actually looking very carefully at that, what you're doing is you're exposing the sort of misconceptions that we all have. The sort of loose way we use these words, and you're trying, you can think of it as you're exposing misconceptions. You can think of it as, I'm going to define what consciousness is, or you can think of it as you're sort of seeing how people use this word and the sort of mistakes that we make with it. That's how Wittgenstein thought of philosophy. He said you have to let the fly out of the fly bottle, you know, that he saw it as this kind of liberation that happens when you look very carefully at this. And so I'm talking from a certain view of what philosophy is, and other philosophers would say, no, that's not what we do, but yeah. So in Buddhism, we don't have to worry about that. When we're practicing, we don't have to worry about that. If we want to do philosophy, yes, we have to worry about that. But if we're practicing, then call it mind, call it consciousness, call it something else. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Just right now, that before thinking mind. Ha! Right? So I shouted, and some people jumped, and some people, she shouted. But when I shouted, I will bet that everyone's mind stopped for a second. It was unexpected. What the heck is this? Right? You know, you could say, what is this? Or you could say, what the fuck is this? They're sort of the same, you know? And that mind that hasn't quite figured out what's going on yet, before the gates slam shut. Oh, I know, you know, before that happens, that mind is extremely precious. That mind is the one to rely on, the one to trust in. And nobody owns it. And it's not particular to any person. So that mind, okay? Then you don't have to worry about consciousness and intuition and mind and trust. You know, just keep that mind. And then everything comes from that mind. That mind sits here, doesn't sit here, everything comes from that mind, then we have a chance of getting things, to use a weird word, right. Then we have a chance to help. So this is a good place to stop.
May I offer
Oh.
a mild commentary?
Yes, you may offer
bizarre.
one.
It's okay. The Shin Ming, the Chinese character, actually means heart and mind.
Yes, that's right.
We tend to think, oh, you're saying mind. But
Yeah.
it's bigger than.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, then in Chinese it's heart mind. Yeah. Thank you. Which is another whole interesting thing, but thank you very much. So.